Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Laurel Park. Well, Keith, it's been a while since we said that, hasn't it?
It's been quite a while. I was just asking Damon here on set. I think April, maybe just a few months, quite a few months. We had to resurface the racetrack here. We're back. Extended meet at Pimlico over to Timonium, and here we go. Lovely Laurel with a challenging set of cards. The first three very, very difficult for me to get through from a line standpoint and even a handicapping standpoint. So I'm looking for some prices, some value. We love it. A little bit different now. We're looking at that small track at Timonium just a few days ago, and now we're back to the big leagues, I guess you would say.
Absolutely terrific card coming up
Yeah.
today. But not just today, tomorrow, Saturday. As far as I've looked, these days are coming up incredibly competitive. Safe to say that everyone, including all the horsemen and women, the jockeys, and the entire team at the Maryland Jockey Club, is very happy to be back on what is quote-unquote our home track here at Laurel Park. And there is so much to look forward to as well. Let's look ahead at some of the stakes action coming up. Not this Saturday, but next week. The Frank de Francis Memorial Dash is the headliner there. 4 stakes races, $500,000 in purses. And as I highlighted, the Grade 3 de Francis Dash is what attracts all the attentions. Veteran sprinters are going to try and battle it out there. Saturday, September the 18th, as we're used to, 12:40 p.m. post. I mean, the cards are there already, and then we got stakes action coming
And
up.
we're coming back right with that next week, and really something to look forward to. I know Trish Bowman and her whole team there in the racing office doing their best work to assemble great cards. We've been lucky to have these kind of stakes days, almost like once a month, and they've come out, really, really nicely. Quality cards. Looking forward to that from a betting standpoint. I'm sure they're going to be there. And yeah, I was just talking. Frank de France been gone since '89. Passed along. I mean, you don't remember, but I do kind of really. That's when I was really getting into racing and what he did for the area around here for Laurel, for Pimlico, even over from the harness standpoint over at Free State Raceway, which is no longer there. But he was a man of the fans and was innovative, brought in some great stuff. Is definitely missed to this day. But glad to have the DeFrancis Dash in his honor because, man, he really gave a lot to this game.
Yeah, and aside from all the stakes action, we also have something else coming up that is for a great cause here. Canter for a cause on October the 10th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Pimlico Racecourse. You can have a spin around the Pimlico main track, $50 per trip, all in aid of a good cause here. And I must admit, I got going using pony racing. That's how I got the horse racing bug. I mean, why not have a spin around on your own pony on such a historic track?
Absolutely, absolutely. Plenty of stories. There's so much history at Pimlico with the Preakness and all of the other races, the match races, you name it. And it's kind of like, as a kid, when you're younger, you want to step on the field of that, maybe that baseball dime or that football field that you love so much. We're going to translate that to the horses, and absolutely something for everybody. And for a very good cause.
Yeah, this is your chance to set foot on Pimlico Racecourse with your own pony. And I would say take it. $50 to a good cause. That seems a pittance for the wonderful experience that you will get. And of course, as we highlighted, we're back at Laurel Park. So let's have a look at the dates for the Laurel Park Fall Meet coming up September the 9th, December the 31st, Thursday to Sunday. 4 days a week of live action right here. And as usual, 12:40 p.m. post. I will be on hand, so will you, Keith. And of course, we also have Calais Francois and Tim Tulloch coming back. So a loaded team here, hopefully pointing you towards some winners. But let's have a look at the current track conditions. At present, the main track is looking fast and the turf track is looking good. Really looking ahead to some of these incredibly competitive main track events as well as these turf races.
Obviously, the turf course, top-notch, world-class turf course we've got here. Various rail settings. Looks in great shape. I have plenty of time to grow in. It should be close to perfect. Little give in the ground today. We had some rain in the Mid-Atlantic region, some storms definitely north of here. I don't know exactly how much Laurel got, but yeah, we're going to start with good right now for this turf course. Main track, a new surface. a fast surface today. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Dries out pretty quick, has a little bit of bounce to it. So let's see what the times are like and see how the horses travel over. Will it have an edge towards speed or closers? We're going to find out. So a little bit of an unknown that we're going to dive into on today's racing card and probably for the first couple days.
Yeah, quite exciting, but we'll keep you updated with anything that we see throughout the day and, of course, throughout the coming days as well. As we'll get going here with this 9-race card. First race of the day starts the early pick 5, which is customary for us here. And Tim Tulloch created a ticket for us. Let's have a look how he plays it. Now, incredibly competitive fields here. So what he does is kind of similar to what I've done in my Rainbow Pick 6. We'll get to that in a second. He goes 3 deep here in the first racing using the 2, the 5, and the 6. And then in race 2, he also goes 3 deep using the 9, the 10, and the 12. That mile and an eighth on the turf, maiden 25. That's a tricky one to figure out as well. I think the number 10, Graham Motion's runner, is probably the gelding to be in that spot. Race number 3 goes also 3 deep, 1, 2, and 5. Race number 4, he goes 2 deep, starting to have to whittle it down a little bit. That's a maiden special weight event. He uses the number 5, Aereo. Brittany Russell's a runner, for not a first-time starter, already had a run there. And the number 6, Lidstrom for Michael Stidham, Godolphin owned 3-year-old colt there. And in a single comes in race number 5, a turf event, 1 mile. He uses the number 5, Mikado for Cahill Lynch. I actually have this 5-year-old mare on top as well. Dangerous combination, the Lynch stable with Charlie Marquez on board. Our leading rider from Pimlico doing terrifically well. $27 flat ticket to kick off the first early pick 5 sequence on this new gorgeous main track that we're so looking forward to. Let's dive into this race ourselves though. Keith, you use the number 2, Fearless Lassie on top. This is a nickel claimer. Norman is a 2 lifetime, 7 furlongs the distance. Philiomez, 3-year-old and up. I use her in second. She's dropping back down to the lowest level she's ever been at after having been a little bit disappointed in some of her last tries.
Yeah, I'd like to see maybe a few more works under the belt as well, but off of this angle, 61, 180 days, good percentage from a smaller sample here for Tony Aguirre. Gets bug rider Allison Nunez, who have been kind of watching a little bit, improving sort. So you're getting a little bit of a weight break here. If you're into that, I don't play a whole lot into that, but I think this horse is going to be live. There's not a lot of true speed in here. I think Moonlight Miss is going to try to go ahead and send and get away from this field. The 4-horse with J.D. Acosta, but Fearless Lassie has races going back, can stay about of a mile. I think this horse has enough tactical speed to lay just off of it. Maybe separate top of the stretch because Supreme Blessing is going to be right there in the mix as well. I guess the big question, the deeper closer, Meet Michelle, really didn't fire at all at Timonium, but turning back to a sprint, Naomi, may be the cure.
Yeah, and sometimes the Timonium track doesn't always suit these out-and-out closes with the tight turns, the short stretch. Meet Michelle probably will relish getting back to that longer stretch that we see here at Laurel Park. And the Supreme Blessing, as you highlighted, she also gets down to the lowest level for the first time. And she was actually able to make up a couple of lengths last time out after a bit of a hot mid-pace of her 3/8 at Pimlico for Tim Keith, who had quite a terrific meet at Pimlico.
He had a very strong meet. No doubt he probably didn't wanted to stay over at Pimlico. No doubt about it. But Supreme Blessing, Fearless Lassie, they come out of that Miss Old Bay race a couple races back. The flow was really hot there. It's not going to be that steamy up front today. They should be comfortable enough, so it's going to keep them around even at this 7 furlong distance.
Race number 2, mile and an eighth on the turf course. So that's our first race back on the turf here. Maiden claiming 25,000. Started the early pick 4, and I do believe that you tried your hand at the early pick 4 sequence.
Let's try a little ticket here. $24. This thing could have been $124 if I really wanted to get into it. But we're going to try to trim it down a little bit. And I think a lot of people are going to be keying around emphasize in race number 2, the 10-horse for Graham Motion. Kendrick Carmouche back, right? So you've got that going for you as well, taking a drop. So I go 9-10 in there. I like to leave them loaded. It's turf race, most recently a couple races back at Pimlico. Spread a little bit in race 3 with the 1, 2, and 5. Kingston Pike, going to take a lot of play. Maybe Championship Alley and Victory Element get the jump on that one to give you a little bit better price in race number 3. Race 4, whittle it down with the 1 and the 2, about a mile and a 16th. I'm going to call it a mile and 16th. That's what we've been carrying it in our charts here. A mile and 16th, slightly shorter run into that first turn speed. 1 and 2 have it. The 1, I think, is going to clear away. The 2 gets that stalk and bounce kind of trip. Wrap it up. Race number 5, 2-3-5-9. I know Tim's got a single in there. I had to spread a little bit. I thought this was a pretty difficult race to get through. These fillies and mares going a mile on the grass. So there's your ticket, $24 as you like. Grab a friend if you can. I'm going to say that all weekend. Kind of redundant here with these multi-race wagers.
I mean, this is a highly competitive card. Plenty of opportunity for the bettors here. And as you said, Tim singled in that race 5. But have a bit of a 4th single, which is kind of what I did in the last race with the Rainbow Pick 6 as well. Can I go deeper? Absolutely. Do you need to start whittling down this ticket to a more affordable price, as you will, and you end up having a single on the horse that you like the best, and then hope that your handicapping has been accurate. So let's get going with race number 2. We also have a video spotlight there on the horse that you just mentioned for trainer Graham Motion. That is the number 10 Emphasize. And we're looking at his last race on the turf, which was at Churchill Downs, and now a gelding. He wasn't back then, but what we see there is that he did lack early speed. He wasn't really there, it seems, but you can see him kind of in the center there, really trying to make a move. Still plenty to do.
Absolutely. Against an okay pace, but called out 5 and 6 wide. Just really couldn't gain a ton, but willingly into a much better field than what he's going to face today. A horse came out, I think El Caban came back and ran a 76, that 2nd place finisher, a troubled 5th, and then the 7th place finisher ran big. So here we go. Here's a stat, though, if you like stats, and the stats were pretty strong over at Pimlico. They've been pretty strong throughout, though. Graham Motion, last 3 years. Look at this, 9 for 27, 33%.
Okay, here we
maiden
go.
special weight to maiden claiming turf
Joe?
with an ROI of 333. That's strong. Emphasize going to be breathing down their necks, I think, from the 316.
I mean, Emphasize seems to be the horse to beat. Now, highlighting quickly, Kendrick Carmouche coming back after having been sidelined with an injury, trying his hand here at the Mid-Atlantic Circus. Got 3 rides here at Laurel Park today, and then a couple coming up at Parks tomorrow and the day after. Really looking forward to seeing him ride this circuit. Very much a strong jockey from the New York circuit. Very likable as well. So, really wish him the best of luck coming back. First time for the tag here for Emphasize has been a campaign that made in special weight level, so it takes a big drop in class like you highlighted. Now, I'm trying to beat the 10 in this spot with a horse that I'm hoping I'm going to get 8-1 was your morning line.
Right.
I'm hoping maybe more. Can I get more? I'm hoping to get more at some point here.
Yep.
Baltimore for trainer Kieran McGee. He has early speed. He's race fit. He was campaigning on the turf for the earlier part of his career and now returns on it after, a couple of decent enough tries on the main track that was sprinting. I just thought it's very intriguing that a strong trainer on this circuit like Kieran McGee says, you know what, we're going to bring him back to what he's done in the past, that is going long and going on the turf. I'm going to take my chances. Why not?
I was looking at this horse, The only thing that kind of got me was the 1 mile and an 1/8. I think he's going to, have that stalking trip. LaPeace Treaty, the 3, is going to go ahead and go. There might be 1 or 2 that kind of try to press him. Baltimore, I think, is going to get the jump on Emphasize, but it's that last, 1/8 of a mile.
True.
It's kind of got me worried there. But you should get a price because they are going to bet Emphasize, no doubt. 9-5 on a line could end up at 7-5, I would think, maybe in 6-5. But I was a little kind of conservative in this line in this race.
Yeah, and what about the number 12, Rip It? I was about to say little Rip It because I've been following his career for quite a bit. I've been on board with all of his turf tries, back down to the maiden claiming 25. But the key for him today, I feel, is that it seems a little bit milder in terms of the temperatures. This is a horse that sweats a lot. This is a horse that gets worked up. It was actually a late scratch on the 13th of, I think it was July, when it was a really, really hot day, and he just wasn't able to deal with that. Now today, you can see him wearing a turtleneck. It's a little bit cooler. I think that's going to help him out. I do wonder if his late kick is strong enough to hold off the likes of Emphasize.
Well, he's a horse that's had a couple really brutal trips. The last time was good, was fine. No real excuse. He was game to the wire. Just saying that Poison was a little bit better that day, dug in through the stretch. But Rip It, I use him underneath again. Mile and an 1/8 following straight on through. I don't know. I think Leave 'Em Loaded ran very big in that turf race. 2 races back, July 31st at Pimlico. Kind of worked around a little bit of traffic, was bumped, and really finished up strong, leveled off nicely. That extra ground is going to help his chances. But Emphasize clearly the one to beat. Motion just trying to take the edge here in race number 2.
Yeah, clearly the one to beat indeed. Race number 3, Nickel claiming 6 furlong on the main track here. We'll start with your top selection in this spot, Keith, which is the number 5 Championship Alley. I do believe we also have a stat for trainer Bruno Tessori coming in here with this runner whose last 2 dirt tries have been very strong.
Yeah, Bruno Tessori doesn't run he doesn't have a ton of horses in the stable. But look, the last 3 months on the dirt, look at this guy's record. 6 for 13, 46%, 9 for 13 in the money with an ROI of 466. Kingston Pike, now a drop down to the nickel. He's been running, pretty good. But the one thing I was against, I saw the setup 2 races back, a big setup at Pimlico, just didn't make that strong enough move. Maybe at this level he will. I think Championship Alley has tactile enough speed to kind of lay just off Victory Element and maybe go ahead and hold on late. But he's got to hold off Kingston Pike. But the speeds are going to be the 1 and the 5.
Yeah, and I'm taking my chance here with Victory Element, low draw, early speed. I think it's going to probably be the main speed. I don't think there's an abundance of it in this field. So on the throwback, he also has the sharpest figures of the entire field. Needs to return to that, though. And I'm forgiving him for that Timonium race. That is a tricky track for some of the horses.
Sure.
Some love it. Some don't. Not entirely sure Victory Element loved it here, but I see this quite similar to you. 1, 5, 2, 3 for me, 5, 1, 2, 3 for you. Race number 4 kicks off that Rainbow Pick 6. I created a ticket here, and as you'll see is that I spread nearly everywhere because I feel like in every single race you can come up with a price play and you also want to include the horses to beat in here. Now race 4 maiden special weight, I go 3 deep, 1, 5 and 6. The 6 Lidstrom, actually my top selection there for Michael Stidham. Race 5, 5, 7 and 9 there. The 5 my top selection, Mikado, the single there for Tim Tulloch. Race 6, 2, 3 and 5. The 2 Determined Truth is the one I'm going to take my chance with in that maiden special weight event. Plenty of talented juveniles coming up here today. Race number 7, another 3 deep. As you can see, it's just a tricky day. 4, 8 and 10. Then I kind of forcefully start narrowing this down. The 2 and the 4 in race number 8 here. The 2 is Tismane for trainer Damon Lodovico. I think that Parks race set him up nicely to hopefully return to some of the form that he showed in a stakes company. And then my single comes in a race that you kind of don't really want a single. 2-year-old maidens, fillies, maiden special weight on the turf. But you know what? I love the number 3, Kate Keller. Ghost Sappers, they can run on anything. Turf doesn't matter. Out of a graded stakes placed mare who could go long and short. Half Brother was second on debut by a nose, 66 buyer. If she can run anything near that on debut, I think it's intriguing to me that the Stidham Bond places her on the turf for her debut instead of trying the dirt. I'm just thinking there might be an angle there. And I love the work tab coming in here, and the stats work as well, as we'll get back to race number 4. Like I said, if you can go deeper in the final race on our cards, I probably encourage you to do so, but I wanted to make sure that my Rainbow Pick 6 ticket was affordable and a bit of a structure for everyone to run along with. Maybe grab a couple of friends. Maybe you and I should go in on one here and see what we can add.
Yeah.
Maiden special weight, 3, 4 and 5-year-olds on the main track, mile and 16, race number 4. We'll start with the horse that you have on top here, the number 1, Awesome Dynamo for Jose Corrales. Blinkers go on. His debut was actually not that bad of a race. It doesn't look great. Look, beaten by 11 lengths, but he was hard used early, and he might just try to steal it here with the addition of blinkers.
Yeah, blinkers go on. Speed on that bottom side. I'm looking for this inside post at a mile and 16th. The speed to just go ahead and carry. Maybe asking a lot, stretching out second time out just off of that one sprint. But top side, you've got Awesome again. Yeah, he was a little bit of a bad actor, let's say, coming out in the post parade. A little studdish. I think I put in the long note, and he just kind of had to be used so hard early. Dueled against a good field. Everett Song has come back and run well. I think he can separate himself from this group. If he could just kind of relax a little bit and behaves himself pre-race, he takes him a long way.
Now, you don't use the projected morning line favorite here, Lidstrom, the number 6 for Michael Stidham, JD Acosta on board. Well-beaten favorite at Colonial, but he was asked to move forward briefly, was on the lead before actually conceding, let Workin shoot forward there. But the two of them were completely gone. There was a big gap between that pair and the field, and I think he just went a little bit too fast, too early. Too much too early. Tired in the latter stages. More patient ride here by JD Acosta will set him up quite nicely. But you're not a believer.
Well, I was just a little surprised. No, not against Colonial. I mean, they gave away a lot of money, and maybe they were looking for a softer spot to kind of get him going. A $2.5 million purchase, a half to Nyquist. I think we're familiar with Nyquist, right?
Yep.
So he
Kentucky
went
Derby
right
winner.
in there, looked like a winner, and just couldn't kick on. I know that's a longer stretch down there. It should set him up well, and he should maybe he does get first run on the one. But at a shorter price, I'll try to beat him. I think the two award nominated. I like the two sprints now. And now we're going long here for Jeremiah O'Dwyer out of America touring Hong Kong. There's dirt route winners in this family. I think this one it's a very good trip where the Rosado shouldn't be terribly far back, but set up now to stretch out.
I love the courage that you've shown here by going against this indeed very well bred number 6 in here. I also used the number 5 Ario for trainer Brittany Russell. Void any early speed on his debut, but well bet. I love the long, sort of patient work tab coming into this. Got a break, was last seen in that debut in January. I think they just wanted to make sure to get the bottom underneath, and now stretching him back out again to the mile and 16. Was that one-turn mile here at Laurel? Perhaps he's just the type that's going to enjoy 2 turns.
Yeah,
more.
Given this longer break, you might just see a different horse today. That field was kind of soft. Nobody in that field has really gone on to do anything dramatic. So I want to see a little bit more, but he definitely could be a different horse here for a barn that's always live. And even Motion's horse, same thing. Thought enough to go down to Keeneland. Things didn't go well. You thought the horse by Munnings would have really kind of relished the off track. Didn't fire at all. Gets a fast surface today. Might jump at a price. I think that horse is still going to sneak away at an okay price.
We'll take a quick break, and we will be back with the latter section of the card.
In the 2-path. Ground on her inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back. Today at the races, we're at Laurel Park. Naomi Tucker, Keith Fusto here. Race number 5, Fillies and Mess 3-year-old and up, claiming 16 to 12,500. 1 mile on the turf, the distance. And we'll kickstart things with a video spotlight here on the number 2 Mosler's Image for trainer Michael Trombetta. Must admit, I feel like I kind of overlooked her a little bit.
Yeah.
We were discussing her in the preliminaries before we started this show. She was in hand on a hot pace and still kicked on strongly on not the easiest of tracks when there is a little bit of moisture in the turf like there was at Pimlico that day.
Absolutely. Yielding ground at Pimlico this particular afternoon. Probably a little give to the ground and today, which should enhance the chances. But I tell you, relaxed under Crispin, really under a confident hold for the most part, Naomi, from the 3/8 pole to about the 5/16. Had to wait ever so slightly. The rail opened up right on through to win clear. Held firm at the mile distance. Back at a mile today. The number comes back all right, a 62 buyer figure. Maybe a touch below some of these other ones. But off of that yielding turf course, stamina build up. I think this is a horse to consider definitely in your exactus tries and superfectus. This was a difficult race for me to separate. I went back looking at it. Marlene Loves Frank. I think I got line too high at 6. I think we'll be a little bit lower than Mosler's Limits. Draws the outside tactical speed. This drop-in class should carry her a long way as well. She comes out of the right kind of a field.
Yeah, exactly. And she only got beaten by 2 lengths against the likes of Fool Yourself, Beckon, and gets Fergal Lynch to stay on board. We know Fergal's very, very good riding the turf course here. So I do like her with that high draw as well. Like you mentioned, has a bit of early speed. So I use her underneath. But I agree with you. This seems to be a wide open affair here, this mile on the turf. I landed on the number 4 Mikado for trainer Cahill Lynch. Charlie Marquez, our Pimlico leading rider aboard. She got back to winning ways last time out, and she's been very, very consistent on the turf ever since joining the Lynch stable.
Absolutely. Tactical, can carry it, kind of a grinding type when you really look at it. The last 4 turf tries, very good for the level. Going to be tough to dismiss out of your exactas and tries as well. Should definitely stay around.
Yeah, definitely a race that you might want to go with a couple of prize plays. Race number 6, maiden special weight here for the 2-year-old filly. So yet another group of juveniles to get going with here. 6 furlongs the distance. We'll start with the filly that you think most likely is going to end up getting her picture taken. That is the number 3, Cost of Fortune. Javier Toledo and Jeremiah O'Dwyer team up again. Now, they had high expectations for her. They shipped her up to Saratoga for her debut. That was 5.5 furlongs on the turf. She tried, but she was close to the speed, and this is going to be her first try on the main track. So a fair few unknowns, but that was, those are salty maiden special weights up there.
And I like the little caveat within that race. When you look at the conditions, I went back and looked. It was for horses that sold for $45,000 or less. I guess it's their most recent sale. Pretty good little angle. I like that. Give an opportunity, a big pot for those owners. $42,000 purchase, so right under the number. Bred to handle the dirt. The mare 5 for 25, topped out at a 94 on the dirt, half to a $600 earner. And as you say, still went up there. That condition obviously attracted them, but didn't run terribly against that group. You've got some well-bred firsters in here, a lot of ways to go. Again, I think the experience is going to help. Comes back to the home track, should be fine. Gets to work over Laurel recently. I like Cost of Fortune to be in the mix.
Yeah, I use the filly with most experience of all of these in here. That's the number 2, Determined Truth for trainer Phil Schoentel. Victor Carrasco. She battled gamely in nearly all of her tries, and I think that 50 figure and that 53 seems good enough with possibly a couple of points of improvement. I love her breeding as well. She's a half to grade 1 spinaway victor, perfect alibi. And I always just kind of thought the Determined Truth looked like your typical sprinter. And what we have seen in these early juvenile races is that sometimes the horse with a bit more experience also carry that race fitness into it. And hence, I don't mind the low draw that she has. She's drawn on the rail, but that's okay for a horse with experience. I'm a bit more hesitant when it comes to first-time starters that haven't experienced any of the pressure yet, but I'm going to take my chances with her today. But you like the number 1. She is Whiskey, 15-1 morning line for trainer Jose Corrales.
Well, I'm going to go back, and I just noticed that I missed that. So we've had a lot of stuff going on. So guys, it's 3254 for me. And my apologies to everybody. Now watch She is Whiskey jump up at a huge price and get it. But I agree with you with Determined Truth. Proven speed, and you say drawing inside. This horse has that experience. You worry about firsters, but really ran big against Trade Secret and run a 63 prior at Saratoga, and Asmussen horse was 4-5 that afternoon. She doesn't mind a fight up front. But let's talk about a couple of these well-bred firsters as well. You want to talk about the 5?
Yeah, let's
Prima
talk about
Ballerina
Prima
by
Ballerina.
Liam's Map, one of my favorite new kind of stallions.
So, interestingly enough, Liam's Map hasn't done that well yet with his first-time starters. The juveniles, only 6% winners, but her damn nth, she won on debut with a 70 buyer. Now, that's plenty good enough to win here. She's a half-sis to Sower, who was a multiple stakes winner and graded stakes place. 2 out of 7 siblings, 1 first time out. Seems that the family suggests that she should be able to get things done here.
Yeah, and you're talking about Liam's Map, only about 6% right now with the 2-year-old first. And Stidham, and I again, sometimes when you look up these stats, you're like, really? 4 for 62 the last 3 years with 2-year-old maiden special weights. First time on the dirt. I did not believe that stat, but I did it again and again just to make sure. But certainly well bred, and that angle on the bottom side and who this horse is kin to would not surprise me at all to kind of buck that percentage and get to the winner's circle. Mary Epler, she's got a pretty good horse, this 4-horse. Sullivan Street, right? You know this horse is a half to?
No.
Only Jackson Traveler. What's
oh
he,
my God! I completely overlooked that one. Trying to look up as much breeding as I could. But
and 3 other winning siblings, including the debut winner. That was Jackson Traveler. So you got a lot of ways to go here. You've got Brittany with a first, and here comes.
I mean,
Shug
I
McGahee.
was trying to see my way through the bountiful, plenty horses in this field, and dead honest at this point, what I encourage everyone to do and what I love doing is look at them in the paddock. Have a look. Who looks sharp? Who's ready to go first time out? And perhaps, the ones with experience, are they comfortable? Are they happy? Do they look like they've come along from the runs that they've had? But great catch there on the Sullivan Street. I must admit, the reason I stayed away from this 2-year-old filly by Street Boss is that I thought the work tab was good, but there's sharper work tabs in here. There's just a couple in here to me that caught my eye that seemed to be working better in the mornings. And when you're going 6 furlongs, look, you want stamina. So I do love the 5 furlong moves, the continuous 5 furlong long moves in here, but there's just a couple that have also got those works underneath their belt and maybe just a touch stronger in this. I liked Kimmy Chardonnay for trainer Brittany Russell. Of course, Brittany Russell, terrifically strong with her 2-year-olds. You can never really leave them out, especially at this level. I feel like if she has a good one, she'll place them in a maiden special weight. She'll place them according to what they've shown at home. She's got plenty of horses in her stable to have a good sort of judge or a good handle on the talent that she might have.
Absolutely. It'll just have the barn is loaded with talent. Yeah, half to a 3-time winner is Kimmy Chardonnay, but there's a turf lean. That's my big note here on this one. So maybe, you know, I'll kind of watch. I won't, you know, I'll use this horse probably particularly underneath an exactas. I might see turf down the line on this one. We'll see.
Interesting. Race number 7, first level allowance here. A mile on the turf. Yet another great turf race coming up. Here, let's start with a video spotlight here on the number 2, Manicomio. And we go quite far back here, don't we? This was at Gulfstream Park in 2020, the 8th of March. And he actually ended up getting caught 3 wide on the first turn before dropping back. And he kind of looked done. But then he found a split, and he really came home strong. You see him there on the rail making his move.
Yeah, and I think this is a field kind of similar to what we've got this afternoon. Vasquez was after being 4 wide early to get to the inside. Game as can be, and you're talking about a horse that was claimed off of a break back in January and just kind of picking spots, comes off of a big win on the main track. But that turf race, it tells me, and the raise up and the confidence that Mike Jorales and Mark Lapidus are showing with this horse right now, I think he's sitting on a good race. You got Forest Boyce, one of the best turf riders around here. And Manicomio has tactical enough speed, I think, just you know, against this group to be put in a position. And you saw the finish there. I think he's coming back into top form. He can handle the turf. He's a user today.
Terrific finish. And that was a career best by your speed figure that he ran going along on the turf all that time ago. So definitely looking forward to seeing him in here. But a testament to the fact that this is a wide open field is that I use him underneath, even though I very much think he's live in this spot. I landed on the number 10 towards the outside. No one to blame here. Fergal Lynch again on board. Blinkers go on. Really sharp work tab coming into this. Last effort on turf at Delaware, possibly not what they've hoped for, but I like the addition of blinkers. I think they've tuned him up to get ready for this, and you get Fergal Lynch taking the ride, and we know that if Fergal Lynch gets on board, they tend to be quite live.
This is a horse that's the draw. It could be like the key to that first 3/16 of a mile to get position. He's had a little bit of a flattening kind of a style of late, but the blinkers go on trying to get that. Key's up against Food and Wine, who I always see in these, you know, these races. He must be a key horse up there at Delaware. So running against the right kind of looks like the figures kind of do work. But how about the 4 U.S. Constitution? 8-1. Maybe I'm a little too high on this, but pulled the shocker at 10-1. Was claimed a few races back for Trombetta for the connections. Little rank one time, trouble another time, but put it all together last time. And you go back, I watched that rerun. Probably should have shown it again today. Man, was able to rate kindly up front. I see this race is pretty paceless. If he can clear early, relax. He was dead firm to the wire against a former Clermont horse. That was okay. No, I'm sorry. It was a Clermont horse. It was favored that afternoon, coming off a little bit of break. Had good numbers on the grass. Little shot here. Sanchez stays. Hoping we can get somewhere close to 8. I'll take 5 or 6.
Yeah, 8-1 would be a terrific value here. I have him in second because I thought this is just an out-and-out consistent performer. Does well on both turf and dirt. And that last win, as you highlighted, I was very much taken by that. Very decisive, very easy, in hand, just very happy horse there at Monmouth Park. Race number 8 coming up next. First level allowance as well. 1 mile, the 1-turn mile here at Laurel Park. Have we missed that 1-turn mile? I've missed it.
It's a tough one for me. I'll tell you, I struggle with the 1-turn miles. I prefer the 2-turn, the mile and the 16th. But you know what? We've cashed some bets with the mile distance.
Relish it though. There are some horses that really like it. But let's look at the headliner in this field. The number 4 Romb for Shug McGahey, Forest Boyce aboard. Last time we saw him was in the Sir Barton. That's not what we're looking at here though. This is at Gulfstream Park at the beginning of this year, 12th of February. He stumbled he stumbled at the start. He didn't get away that well.
Absolutely. And this runner here for Stuart Janney, the third, and Shug McGee, boy, they've teamed up to win a lot of big races, huh? Haven't they in the past? But back to the one-turn mile. Perfect here for Romp. Look at this acceleration from the far turn up to the quarter pole. Is just going to go ahead and sweep on by 4 wide to win it. This is a race here where that kind of move tells me he can use that speed a little bit sooner today against this group. There's nobody that's really going to get away from him, I don't think. I think with a good break, he's a first-time gelding here, can get that kind of spying trip off of Titan's Will, who I think will be sent from the outside.
I think as well. To me, he's projected to be the main pace Titan's Will. Now, the only caveat with Romp is the fact that I think it's going to be a very low price. You have him lined at 6 to 5. He is the class of the field, the horse to beat by far. 2 impressive victories at Gulfstream as well as Aqueduct. But he has had a break, 117 days. Now, first-time gelding angle. So you either can say, yes, that's going to move him along, and he just needed the freshener. I think he is the horse to beat, but am I trying to find some value by looking elsewhere? I am. I'm using Tis Mandate, drawn lower there, the number 2 for trainer Damon Delodovico. Interesting, though, he's ridging here on the form, but actually, according to trainer Damon Delodovico, he is a gelding, actually second-time gelding in here, so do make a note of that in your form. And I'm looking for him to get back to some of the performances that he showed in Stakes Company as well. So the class level is kind of there. He just needs to return to some of those performances.
Yeah, and a little bit some speed in the works leading up to this, I guess, after they're reported of being gelded, maybe, because he's been kind of sluggish in his races, but bringing good finishes, showed talent, too, into that early 3-year-old season and kind of flattened out a little bit late, but looks like he's moving in the right direction, can move up off of that race at Parks. The mile is certainly well within his scope. It's just, is the flow going to be right for him?
Yeah, we will find out in race number 8. And nightcap is race number 9. Another maiden special weight event, 2-year-old fillies. This time they're sprinting on the turf, 5.5 furlongs the distance. And look, I had a single, my best bet of the day, Kit Keller for trainer Michael Stidham, homebred for Godolphin by Go Sapper. Go Sapper, they can run on dirt, they can run on turf. Go Sapper, 15% winners with turf sprinters. Now she's out of a graded stakes placed mare who was very flexible. She could go long, she can go short. And her half-brother was second on debut, only by a nose, 66 buyer, which is definitely good enough. I like the work tab, very completed work tab. Plenty of a little bit of speed, a little bit of longer works going in here, and Michael Stidham making his runners making their debut on the turf win at a 20% clip, which I think is a good stat as well.
Yeah, I really can't talk you off of too many horses in the 9th race. Again, horses that are well bred, they should handle this surface. You've got the one by Uncle Mo out of an Empire Maker mare here for Delacour. The mare was 3 for 12. This is Coffee being topped at an 87. Both sibs were winners on the turf, but they didn't run exceptionally fast. So I kind of lay that one underneath. I'm going to circle around the 5 horse, a little bit of that. Here we'll go for Brittany Russell in this 2-year-old maiden race on the grass. Steady works, nothing blazing. The mare was good, though. 3 for 9, 8 for 9 in the money. Carried that speed on the turf. Ran good enough figs. Half bro to horse that topped at a 92, I think, sprinting. That's enough for me from a barn that we know can get a horse ready to rock first time out. So I'll key around the 5, but in a race, it's another spread race to me. I think, I think White Knuckle Flyer could improve. Luna Antonio looking at breeding, has a shot. So I'm keying around the 5. That's it. Maybe one other one, top and bottom in my exactas.
Yeah, look, I'm taking quite the stance here, singling on the number 3, Kit Keller, in a race full of unknowns. First-time starters from really high percentage barns that are sending out a couple of well-bred fillies in this spot. And that will do it for us this morning. 9 races coming your way. Highly competitive and deep fields. So much to look forward to. I will be back in the afternoon again with Callie Francois as well as Tim Tullock. But that will do it for you here on air. But you'll be keeping
an eye out. That was a lot of work.
I'm
done. I'm done for the day. I'm out. Sorry, guys. No charts. I tell you, that was a lot of work getting through these cards. The racing office got to take it a little easier on your line maker. But good for the bettors, though. You got to love it. Good to be back. Track looks great. Turf course looks really good. So excited. I think we're going to have a lot of value, a lot of opportunities for the bettor here at Laurel Park.
Agreed. Plenty of ways to go in terms of your exotics as well as your tickets. Good luck to everyone, and I'll be back in a little bit.
You got it. Good luck.